Hey, we are live. Welcome to the Confidence After Dark podcast. The main mission and focus of this podcast is to help couples listen to one another, understand one another, and learn to create a healthy environment for their family using the power of femininity, intimacy, and vulnerability. All you do is fight and argue, say mean and hurtful things, or do hurtful things to each other. You love each other and you want this relationship to work, but you just don't know how after everything you've been through. If this sounds like you and you feel lost, please subscribe to this podcast because when you thrive, everyone else around you thrives. And so in today's episode, I am doing an interview with Janice Ricolin. And I'm going to start off by asking her to please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what it is that you do.
Thank you. Hi, Alexa. Thank you for having me. So yes, my name is Janice, and I live on the Big Island of Hawaii. And what I do is I'm a spiritual mentor slash healer. And what that is that I'm a Kahuna wisdom keeper, which is my title. And Kahuna in Hawaii, it means like a shaman, a priest, or someone who has spiritual knowledge. This has been passed down in my lineage, in my family, from my mom's side, and from my grandfather, and down that lineage. So what I do is I blend that with energy healing and clairvoyant guidance in one to help women to regulate their emotional ups and downs so that they can feel fulfilled in their lives. And the way I do that is by transforming your ancestral karmic limitations that's been passed down through the lineage to connect you to your inner wisdom and reclaim your power with deep self-confidence. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So
Yeah.
just to make sure that I have some clarity. So you're a spiritual mentor, but you more so focus on karmic
Family karmic
family
limitations.
karmic limitations. So like karmic debt, is that the same as like karmic debt?
Kind of, yeah. Karmic debt is, it can be money, but it could be like relationships in the family line. Like for me, I have like a karmic wound from my mother. Some has father wounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I healing those relationships so you can have better relationships with your kids. So you can have better relationships with your family. You can have better relationships with your people, environment, friends, friendships, but it starts with like you being in your own relationship, like healing that.
Okay. So how does erasing or well, is it erasing? So how is erasing your karmic generational limitations
Yeah,
beneficial to the relationships that you have in the present?
I don't erase them
Okay.
because they're your experiences that happen, right? But I help
Mhm.
you transform them. And the
Okay.
way I help you transform them is that, let's say some, and I do it through like meditation practice, Ho'oponopono practices, which is the practice of forgiveness. It's a
Mm.
practice of reconciliation. And it's a mantra, 4 words. And that with meditation and energy work, I blend all that together to help you transform the relationships in entirety. So let's say someone has done something to you that made you feel hurt, like you were hurt, it didn't feel right, or they said something to you and you held on to this.
Mm-hmm.
And then because you didn't feel you want to like cause any issues or problems within the family or with the person, so you just held on to that, right?
Right.
So then you walk away, and then but then eventually when you continue to hold on to that, you can't hold on to that anymore, because it makes you start to kind of, oh, I don't want to be around that person anymore. Oh, I don't like how this is making me feel. So you start to avoid it, right? You start to have coping mechanisms to avoid the situation, right?
Right, right.
And then as you get older, you start to build these coping mechanisms now on a bigger scale, because you haven't dealt with that rooted issue. Like, let's say your parent said something to you as a child. And then so now later on in your life, here you're dealing with avoidant issues, right? So
Hmm.
I take that and I help you transform what was that cause that caused you to make you feel that way, and transform that inside of you, so that you're not holding on to it inside of you, and you can release that in a healthy way. That versus most people, they will do it in unhealthy ways. They will get coping mechanisms of drugs, or they would avoid, or they'll detach themselves. This way here is that you're able to go in and feel that emotion and process that and release that from your energy and from your body, so you're not holding on to that.
Okay, okay. I understand now. So it's it's to help you the practice of forgiveness to be able to let go of the negative emotions of like bitterness, resentment.
Shame, guilt,
Yeah.
resentment, fear, control, all of that.
Right. So you can let go of those emotions and you can begin to move on, right? And
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
create a new identity for yourself.
Yes, a
One
new
that's able to
identity, a
receive
new
love.
being. Hmm.
Mm,
Hmm.
sorry,
Yeah,
go
so let's
ahead.
say, yeah, no, 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 this is awesome. I love, like, yeah, I love all of this. Yeah, and it's like, so if you come in with a wound, a karmic wound that you're here to work, because karma is lessons. It's your lessons that you're here to learn.
Mhm.
So we choose these lessons so that we can learn this, so we can grow on a spiritual level, so we can grow as people, right?
Right.
So these lessons you need to learn. So that's why that practice of Ho'oponopono comes in, to forgive that, so you can transform that. So you no longer need to learn those lessons anymore. And then when you learn these lessons, what happens is this gets transpired in your family to your children. They don't get to experience that, because they got to see you handle this in your power, that they were like, oh, they get to choose a different way.
Mm, I love that.
They don't have to do it that way anymore, like how your parents used to do it, and how your
Right.
mother used to do it, and your grandmother used to do it. Now they can be, because we were taught as women to suppress our emotions, suppress who we are. So then
Yes.
the suppression, so that our children is watching us. Our children are seeing how we act, how we talk, how we interact with other people. So then they're picking these up. And then on some subconscious level, we are acting it out towards our children. And then, so by us reclaiming our power and standing in our power, they get to have now a different perspective, a different way of looking at things. So you're just creating different timelines for them. I like to call it like a story, a narrative, a different story.
Yeah, I can definitely, yeah. Yeah, that's definitely what it sounds like. You not
Mhm.
passing down the same patterns so that your
Mhm.
children can do differently and they can do better,
Absolutely.
because that's what
Ab-
majority of us want, right?
yes.
Is for our children to be better than we were, to have a better childhood and to have a leg up, especially when they become an adult, because being an adult is hard.
Oh yeah, adulting. Yeah, exactly. But we weren't. But taught. We weren't taught that. So if our mother or our father was unavailable for us, and they didn't
Mm-hmm.
give us the emotional support, or any support at all, we're gonna trying to figure it out on our own. And this
Exactly.
is where the wound comes in. And this is how the karmic wound gets passed down, because our parents weren't taught to be present. wasn't taught to deal with their own adultedness or shit or karma, what I baggage, I like to call. So
Right.
they're trying to figure it out on their own. And a lot of, back then, and this is generational stuff, like back in generations, you're dealing with like lack, fear, scarcity, not good enough, all of that. So of course that's going to get passed down, even though you want the best for your children, even though when you say like, I want you to do better than me, but then you would say something to them, and then they will take it the wrong way, or they hold on to that.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly.
And yeah, totally.
So does
I can see.
everyone have karmic limitations?
Yeah,
Okay.
most
Okay.
people, yes. That's why we're here. We're here to learn. We're here to grow. That's why we
Okay.
have partnerships. That's why we have family. That's why we have friendships, because we're here to grow together.
Right.
We're not here to do it alone. We're here to come together and work out our stuff together. So it's going to get lit up when you're in relationships with people.
Right.
And
Right.
yeah, and there is some people here to help you as well. Like you have friendships, like you meet them and you're like, oh my god, you're like my best friend for life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, they're here to help you too, right? That's good karma.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. So let me ask you this. So how do you go about forgiving your parents for, like you said, not being able to give you the support that you needed, or they weren't available to you because maybe they were working all the time, or
Yeah.
they just didn't know how because they weren't taught, or maybe they're a little selfish and they didn't know how to
Right.
provide space for someone else. How would you suggest someone goes about forgiving that parent? Because I've experienced that where now that I know what it is, I had that karmic limitation where I was holding on to resentment towards my parent,
Mm-hmm.
um because I have felt like she didn't give me the attention that I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't, and that she had chose someone else above me.
Mm-hmm.
And
I see.
so, holding on to that was causing me to, have a lot of those negative emotions, depression, um, anger, lashing out at people who, didn't have anything to do with it. But if I felt any inkling like, oh, you don't support me, I would like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
lash out and have this big reaction. So um what would your suggestion be to be able to forgive that parent and be able to move on?
Yes. Oh, this is such a great question. And yeah, I can definitely relate to you and where you're coming from on that. And lashing out with other people is the karmic wound that's being activated under the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And then so that shows up in the external surface by lashing out, because there's inside that little girl that's still looking for their mother, still looking, that little boy, that little girl is still looking for that support. Still looking for to be seen, to be recognized, to be heard, to be loved. So I do a lot of the inner child work to, like, you now step into that parent for that child. So it needs to start there, because if you constantly are looking for validation or approval from your adult parent, that is never, because they haven't worked on their stuff. So how are they supposed to expect to give you what you need if they haven't done it for them? So you need to do it for you first, and then show your parent the way. Like I did that with my mom. Like I healed my inner child, that now I'm not looking out for my mom. My little girl's not looking for my mother anymore. That now my mom and I can just be me and her. Not and she can still be my mother, but I can be me.
Mm,
I would go into the role at times, because a lot of the children who's trying to get their needs met, they go into roles of being the parent because they have to raise themselves. So now they
right,
become the parent for their parent,
right,
and
right.
then the relationships gets twisted because now you are being their parent because you're trying to get their attention, and you had to grow up and get your needs right because you didn't get your needs met from your parents. So by you healing and working with your inner child, because she's the one who's holding all that pain. She's the one who's holding all, because as an adult self, you know better. You know, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've done, you know who you are, because you know. But if
Right.
the little girl doesn't, she still
Mm-hmm.
needs that love and guidance. So it's like taking her by her hand is like, I got you. I got you. You come
Right.
with me. I got you.
So did you feel like before you healed your inner child, did you feel like when you would come around your mom, you would still have like this childlike per don't want to say
Yes.
personality, but like this
Yes. Yes.
childlike personality and this childlike energy and kind of like shrink yourself and things like that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, because I was trying to get her love. I was
Mm-hmm.
trying to get her approval. So I started like becoming a people pleaser. This is how people
Yeah.
pleasing happens. And then when I would do things for myself, I would always second guess myself, because in the back of my mind, the question was, will my mother approve of me? Will my mother love me if I did this? Because anytime I
Mm,
did anything, like, her opinions will come up, you
yeah.
know? Why did you do this? How come you did that? And because I came from that wound of not feeling love and the support in the way I needed, that would get triggered all the time. So every time I would be around her, it would be, until I figured out a way of how to do it and working a Ho'oponopono on that practice. I would do, like, I would go get self-medicated before I could be around my mom so I don't get triggered,
Mm,
so I'll start to do those kind of things, or I would avoid her, or I didn't, like, there was a point that I didn't want her in my life, but then I
yeah.
knew that was wrong as well, because I
Yeah.
wasn't dealing with that. So I needed to go in, not only do the Ho'oponopono practice, but also do a lot of the inner child work and shadow work that came along with that. Because you, as you grow up, you start to create coping mechanisms and shadow and denying parts of yourself because you were told that wasn't right. That's not how we do things. You know,
Right. Right.
that's not how you get love. So if you're bad girl, oh, you're not going to get love or attention. So that, like, affected my also partnerships,
Mm-hmm.
relationships. That affected my relationships with friends. That really affected my relationship with my son. Like, trying to even connecting with people on a deeper level. It was
Mm.
over surface level connection. So yeah. So I had to connect. So connecting with yourself first by healing that inner child, that inner you.
So how were you able to have deeper relationships and connections with other people?
I did. Well, I do a lot of, like, meditation. So what I do is, and what I learned was, I found clairvoyance. So clairvoyance is being able to build your sixth chakra so that you're able to see the energy, then versus feeling everything and becoming your environment, like taking everything on. Then you don't know who you are and the rest of the world. You don't know what's, because we're constantly getting information. So by learning how to ground myself, meditation helped ground myself, being in my body. Because when you get triggered in the wound, you leave your body and you're not present, because you don't want to come in your body because it's so painful, right?
Right.
And so you leave your body. So the first thing I learned is to work with my body, breathe, meditate, ground myself, whatever, and feel the energy as it was coming up and not ignore it or suppress it. And if it did come up, then I would, like, say the whole Ho'oponopono mantra, which is, I'm sorry please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And
Mm,
repeating that mantra over and over again until you come to a place is like, okay, I can do this, and you're present. And then I do other things like visualizations, breathing, some like journaling, like going out into connecting with nature, just really getting to know me, like getting to know this little girl in me. What is she like? What is she doesn't like? What is she, what does she like to
yeah,
do? And like
yeah,
connecting with her is connecting with me. And then I can make decisions that is going to be now aligned with me because I know me. I know my energy. I know who I am. Then versus what the world is trying to tell me, what my mom was trying to tell me, or what my friends wanted me to be because of this people pleasing that I have had.
right, right. Yeah, I like that. I can see that. I can see how, when you have those wounds and it's leading to people pleasing, that you're kind of shrinking yourself, and so you're not able to really express who you truly are, like express your real thoughts, your real feelings,
Mhm.
communicate that to other people. And so, like you say, you keep things like on a superficial level, and
Mhm.
not really let people in because you're still hurt, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so when you
Mhm.
heal your inner child, that helps you to grow into an adult. So are you able to have are you able do you feel like your mom views you as an adult now, and you feel like you are an adult around your mom?
For 5 minutes, maybe. And then she goes into her squirrely way. But,
Yeah.
and I understand that, and I can give her so much love and compassion because of that. Like, I'm not hurt by that. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
she has her journey to go on. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like, yeah. So I'm like, maybe for 5 minutes.
And sometimes we can forget that. We can forget that our parents are on a journey too. And sometimes, they're able to get there and sometimes they still fall short. And I think that perspective is what helped me a lot in my forgiveness process, was understanding that my mom, she was a teenager one point in time. She felt certain
Mhm.
emotions. She went through very
Mhm.
traumatic experiences. So it's understandable that she would, not be able to give me some of the things that I was looking for,
Mhm.
emotionally, you know.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I understand. And us women, we're very emotional. And when we don't got that emotional connection, we connect on an emotional level. So if we're not getting that connection from our mothers, our first authority when we come to our own mothers, then we're gonna try to connect with all these other things. We're looking for that on a soul level.
Right.
That's what we down deep down inside, all of us is looking for that love, the connection, but without the judgment, without the opinions, without all of that, just pure, just pure energy of just, hey, I see you, I love you, you know.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
definitely want that. And I feel like we need that, at least
Yes.
from our parent, just one person in our life who we can be like, I could just
Mm-hmm.
tell them anything. They won't judge me. They still
Mm-hmm.
love me. They don't look at me different.
Mm-hmm. But there is times that you can't either. They're not available for that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like developing that within you, building that self confidence in you that you got your back. You got it. And then the world will reflect that to you, will bring you the people to validate that instead of you versus going out and seeking validation externally.
Mhm.
And that's what happens when a lot of people have a lot of wounds that is unhealed, or like the people pleasing thing, or the not feeling good enough. We will go outside of ourselves to seek validation. So we need to learn new tools, new techniques to get our own self inner validation.
Right, right. So do you feel like how can that show up in relationships? Like when you are in a romantic relationship, um how can that wound like affect the relationship that you have with your partner? I'm kind of seeing like there may be extra neediness, like need for
Mm-hmm.
validation
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. What are some signs in a relationship that you may still be suffering from a karmic wound?
One that I see in women is if she doesn't feel safe and protected in her feminine energy, she will step into her masculine energy, become the masculine. And
Mm,
then how that affects the relationship is he cannot step into his masculine and he will hide and run away. And so then she will get upset because she's like, well, you abandoned me. So he will cause like it would be like he'll be probably on the phone all the time, not paying attention to her. She would say like, "Oh yeah, I want to go on a date," but they don't go on a date, right? Or her communication, like getting her needs met in a healthy communication way, will come off as like you're just picking at me. You're just upset all the time, and then that's what he will take it as. But she's trying to say like, hey, I'm trying to get my needs met. I need some attention, I need some love, and you're not giving it to me. But to him it's like, oh, you're needy.
ooh, yeah, I could definitely relate to that because when I was going through it bad, oh my goodness, everything my husband would say would trigger me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it wouldn't even be like it would be bad stuff, but it wouldn't be like
Oh yeah.
malicious. It wouldn't be
Right.
malicious. It wouldn't be me, him trying to hurt me. It would just be
Mm-hmm.
like truth. And they'll be like, well, I just want you to get better. I just want you to, stop doing these things that I feel like are harming you. But I would just always feel attacked and would always get
Mm-hmm.
offended and it would lead to
Mm-hmm.
arguments.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I had to learn to like you said, like understand that certain needs weren't getting met and how
Mm-hmm.
to communicate that better so that
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't, letting every little thing rile up
Get
my emotions.
mm-hmm. Yes, yes, girl. Mm-hmm. I can definitely relate. And it starts with like because when we look at things, we're looking at things through our own set of goggles, our own set of glasses, right? And then the
Right.
other person in front of you is looking at their own set of glasses. And then those glasses, if they're not cleaned and they're not healed, they're gonna be charged. That's what's happen. That will happen in why the argument starts because they're looking through it through those dirty lens.
Yes. Yes. I
And
felt like
and
my judgment or my what I was seeing was like kind of cloudy.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, because of the wound still from your mom, or wherever you needing that from.
Right.
So this when we go in relationships, it's and I teach like how to go into the like I have a client. She's already divorced by her husband, but she has 3 kids, so she still needs to communicate with him.
Mm-hmm.
But there will be times where he would just leash out at her through a text or whatever, just lay it on her, and she would just break down and just cry. And she's been not been with him for like 7 years, but these things still hurt her.
Yeah.
And so we walked through it, calmed her down, let her have her emotions, let her like feel all of it. And once she was good, I go, okay, moving forward, you need to put in an action plan so this doesn't come back again. So this doesn't happen again. So I had her go tell her when she's ready to communicate, wait, I told her, you have to be ready and grounded without all this emotional charge coming up at him. But when you're ready and grounded, these are what you need to say. So I even gave her a script, what she needed to say, because
Mm,
of the trauma that was so much in her body, she couldn't even say it because she was so affected still. So I helped her and I just wrote it down for her and I told her, I go, hey, I understand, like, I see where you're coming from, but if you are going to come at me like this, we cannot communicate. I cannot communicate when you're upset like this. This doesn't help our child to get through this. Until you're ready to communicate, I'm here to be here to help work together. But I cannot communicate with you when you are like this to me. And I
right.
had her, I wrote it down for her so she can say it over and over in the mirror to get her confidence. So when she was ready to say it, she was able to say it in her power without all that emotional charge, without all that gunk in the glass. And you know what? It changed. He's never done it to her again. Mm-hmm.
Taking back your power. That's what
Yes.
that's what I've noticed I had to do in my relationship. Like I had to
Mm-hmm.
take back my emotional power.
Mm-hmm.
I had
Mm-hmm.
to, not give it away so much and
No.
changing my perspective. Like when you're in a relationship, like you said, you're still looking at things through your own lens. But when
Mm-hmm.
you are able to look from your partner's perspective with, compassion and understanding and
Mm-hmm.
empathy and seeing things from their point of view, that maybe they're dealing with stuff too. Maybe they got some karmic
Mm-hmm.
limitations
Mm-hmm.
themselves, or some mommy issues or daddy issues, as they say,
Mm-hmm.
that they haven't healed from. So I like that, especially that you gave her a script. I think that's really helpful because
Yeah.
we just don't know what to say, and we just
No.
know to lash out emotionally,
Yeah.
or to be
Break down.
quiet. Yeah,
Yeah, or break
break
down.
down and be
One,
quiet.
yeah, one
So
or the other. Yeah,
right.
yeah,
So it's like, oh man, what do I do? What do I say? So
right.
I like that script idea. I think that's a really good tool for
Yeah.
somebody to use, and like you said, to build up that confidence first
Mm-hmm.
before they confront the person, so that
Mm-hmm.
they're able to go in headstrong.
Right. And to get the results, not continue that cycle.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And be affected by that negative cycle, but move forward. But now she gets to move forward with him
Right.
because he knows his she like set a precedent, her boundary is like, I cannot communicate with you when you are like this at me. That's not fair to me when you're like this to me. That was all of it. And I told her, I go, say it, your body needs to feel that confidence, your body needs to feel that power before you can move. Because if you don't, what's going to happen is all this emotional charge is going to be affected. That's why a lot of women can't deal with that because they're still charged up by that.
Mhm.
Why I like to like coach them through new techniques and new ways of dealing, going through their emotion in a powerful way so that they get the results, not just for them, but also for the other partner too. Maybe someone's never stood up to him like that or told him in that way before,
Right.
so that he could change as well. But by you being
Exactly.
in your power, you get to now be like, hey, you need to take responsibility. This is not okay. This is your kuliana. This is your responsibility. You go deal with it. It's not okay that I'm your emotional punching bag when things are not working out for you.
Mm. Yes, ladies, that was great advice right there. Great advice right there. She is basically telling you it is important to set boundaries with these men, because it's really what they need. It's what they want, really. Otherwise, they will
Mm-hmm.
just keep using you
Mm-hmm.
as their
Mm-hmm.
emotional punching bag, because you're
Mm-hmm.
allowing them. People do what you
Yeah,
allow.
because
So
maybe his family allowed it, right?
right, right. And all he knows is people who just let him do and say whatever and, never really check them.
Right.
So yeah, I feel like that was great advice right there. Setting boundaries, communicating those boundaries, and being firm on that, like you said, like having that confidence, feeling it in your body, in your soul, that this is what you
Mm-hmm.
deserve. Like you deserve to be treated with respect.
Yes, sister. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So just like hand holding them through the process, you know? And
Yeah,
just because they never got, again, they never got that support correctly from a child, from their mother, or from, you know what I mean? So
right.
being able to be there for them and help them through that process, and like giving them new tools and how they can do that. But really what she was doing in that letter is setting that boundary for herself and holding her worth, so that it came off that way and it communicated that way, that it shifted that reality. He doesn't do it to her anymore. And even if he tried, she'd be like, she's holding her energetic boundary. He can try all he wants.
Mm-hmm. And it's not gonna move her.
Nope, it's not going to move her. It's not going to shake her like how it used to. Like it broke her down, because for her it would break her down. She wouldn't say anything, and she would go into these spirals of darkness and just want to be alone, not being bothered, and just like be in this depression.
Mm-hmm.
So now she doesn't even go there anymore. She doesn't even allow it to go there anymore, because she found a new way, a new tool. She found it in her body. She got to feel it in her body. So her body has that memory. Her body has that experience now. So
And that's all through clearing your energy,
yeah,
replacing it with
clearing.
more confident energy, more positive
Mm-hmm,
energy,
mm-hmm,
and forgiveness, being able to heal those wounds and doing inner child work. Is that right?
mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that is all, and those are all things that you help women with. Do you help men as well, or just women?
I have in the past, and I have a couple of male clients, but my soul is very passionate working with women. It's not that I can't work with
Yeah.
men,
Yeah.
but my soul has a passion to help women to overcome all of this and reclaiming their power.
Right.
Um,
Right.
yeah, but
Nothing
yes, I
wrong with
do.
that.
No,
I just thought I'd
no.
ask just in case.
Yeah, but I do work with men. I do have a couple of male clients that I do
Mhm,
work with. Hmm.
mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you this. It's kind of off topic, but do you feel like men should be coached by other men?
Well, it depends if that man is not okay. So on a soul level, okay, this goes back way, 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 way. So as a man, like caveman days, okay, in
Mhm.
order for a man to feel his worth, he needs to protect, and he protect and he keeps you safe, the feminine safe, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And that is going to be based on his worth. That's tied together on his worth, okay. But if the man understands that part, then yeah, you can train that. But if the man's worth is tied to money, tied to success, tied to, what your partner does, or, relationships, how your partner reacts to you, then no.
Okay. Mhm.
but you want to see like where your worth is tied to.
Mm.
So if your worth is tied to any of those things, then it causes some limitations in its own. But when it's tied to, you just want to serve, and you want to protect, and you want to be safe,
Mhm.
not because you're trying to get something out of that person, or you're trying to get like financial gain, or you're trying to get success, or you're trying to get approval, or in that sense, then yeah, then that's like a healthy way of like men masculinity standing in their masculinity power.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Hmm. And
Okay.
that's
I'd
like the
always,
root of male men.
right.
Like, yeah, I have a girlfriend who's like dealing with a relationship right now, and for for him, and I was telling her yesterday, for him, his worth is tied to what his family's opinions and what judgments are for him, because
Hmm.
they're disapproval of how he lives his life or whatever, because he comes from a really strong like religious background.
Hmm.
So because of that, he will that because she's like, I don't want him to tell me what I want. I don't want him to tell me how can I make me happy. I just want him to like kind of be in his own power, and then he'll know what he needs to that's gonna help me and support me. I just don't feel the support from him. And I because he keeps asking me. I go, okay, but have you told him? She goes, yeah. But then for him to have to, I told her, go, the reason why he keeps asking you is because he doesn't want to be wrong. He doesn't want to upset you, because because there's still that part of he's trying to prove his worth, because he's trying to prove his worth in his family. And she's like, whoa. So yeah. So it's just like helping her coach him to like what he needs. It's great that he was asking her, because he does love her, he does concern, but then it was triggering her, upsetting her on some level.
Right. Right. Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So she needed to understand more, like she needed to understand him more, like what was going to
Yeah, the
get him
deeper
to
level.
change.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because I told him, once he unhooks himself from the external influences from his family, and he gets to stand in his own power, making his own firm decisions for himself, what's going to be like, this is what I choose, then he won't have to ask you so much about like, what do you want, what can I do for you, what how can I like be better for you,
Right.
you know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. He'll start to
Mm-hmm.
feel more confident in himself.
Within himself, yep, exactly, instead of trying to like put all his energy into her, filling up her, and focus all his energy trying to please her. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was the deeper level, and
I
that's why it
like
got
that.
her triggered.
Yeah. Right. She wanted a more confident, masculine type of energy.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gotcha. I feel like this was a lot of valuable information, and I so appreciate you coming on and doing this interview and speaking to my audience. I truly appreciate it. I got a lot of good advice, a lot of good tips from this interview, and I enjoyed the conversation. I felt like we could relate on so many levels. So I feel like whoever chooses to work with you would feel the same. You just have a down to earth, relatable type of energy.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I love being here, and your wisdom and all that work. I can totally see the work that you've done. It's so incredible, man. Oh, I just wanted to just validate you for all that work and transpiring that to your babies and changing the narrative in your life. Oh, it's so beautiful. And I just love this conversation and how it was going and flowing and talking about it. And yeah,
Right.
and even listening to you and what you were saying about your mom and all of that, I was like, "Ooh, I've been there. Like, I can relate to you." Like, yeah,
Right, right.
it
Oh
got
my goodness.
yeah,
Thank
right.
you so much. I definitely put a lot of work in. It was 3 years, 3 years of consistent therapy.
Oh, it pays, man, girl. Like when you can really talk about it, like the way you've shared, and it's so beautiful. It's so healing for everyone here and listening, and who people you touch in your life, who gets the honor to be in your life, you know, to
Mhm.
get to know you and to meet you. So I'm so honored to have you like have me here. It's just honored to like be here with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, audience, ladies, gentlemen, because I believe I got some men who listens too. If you feel like you have karmic blockages, you have karmic limitations, you have karmic wounds, and you need to practice the art of forgiveness, inner child work, shadow work, being able to build the confidence to have boundaries and step into your power and know who you are so that you're able to better present that to the world. Definitely reach out to Janice and her coach and to get some coaching services from her. Um, so if you could just tell us how they can reach you.
So I have a couple of places. I'm on Facebook, which is Janice Recolon. You can reach me there. You can DM me there and start a chat. I do have like a 45-minute free self discovery call or self awareness, so you can start to become aware of these patterns, and I can help you identify what they are. So I can
Mhm.
give you some support around it. So it's a 45-minute free call. Um, just you can just reach me through Facebook on Janice Recolon, or you can reach me on Instagram, which is Janice_Ululani. And I also have a group as well, and it's called Unapologetically You. And I teach some of these techniques and tools to shift your energy and build that inner confidence. So you can find that it's in Facebook.
All right. And all of that information will also be in the show notes in the description box. So make sure that you check all of that out and reach out to Janice if you are in need of some energy clearing, some energy shifting, and transformation. Thank you so much
Mm-hmm.
for joining me. And make sure
Mm-hmm.
you ladies are following us on social media, getting a hold of as many resources as you can. She's offering free resources. I offer free resources. So taking advantage of all the help that you can get in order
Mm-hmm.
to start making that shift in your life, right? So
Right.
it gotta be important to you in order for you to take the first step. So take that first step and then take the leap. Thank
Yeah.
you for listening, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Hi.